agencies continue to detail the use cases they're pursuing with Gen AI, some agencies are getting further than others in that effort. Drew Firment is Vice President of Enterprise Strategy at Pluralsight. He says there's a gap between agency aspiration and accomplishment with the cloud and AI.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to do AI without cloud computing, right? And so there's this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How do you establish the foundations of cloud computing with ephemeral workloads, infrastructure as code, some of really the basic building blocks, and then from there have a modern data strategy. If you can do those things, then AI really becomes a evolution instead of a revolution. But trying to jump into AI straight away, you're going to have issues. And it's like, I think 90% of all AI projects are stalled in the prototype phases and unable to get to production because people are realizing they need to kind of go back to the basics. So yeah, and a lot of that is, we're on a mission to teach the world of cloud with Pluralsight, and skills is a big part of that, right? You have to have the skills to be able to build the foundational building blocks of cloud computing and then, move forward to leverage AI.
The federal government embarked on its cloud journey as an enterprise, I want to say in the 2010, 2011 timeframe. What still remains to be done in order to get to where the agencies say they want to go on AI?
Well, so one of the things I've learned from my experience in an enterprise for a long time and helping to build a cloud program is there's a lot of inertia within enterprises, certainly a lot of inertia within federal agencies, the as is. And to overcome that inertia, you need a significant amount of momentum. I call that critical mass, right, to overcome that. And specifically, you need that critical mass with cloud literacy and fluency. If you end up having a cloud center of excellence or a program office that, you're in an echo chamber of folks that know how to speak cloud, but you don't really need just the SEAL Team 6, right? You need infantry. So, because SEAL Team 6, once they build something, they want to move forward, and then you have porous defenses. And in cloud, that means security vulnerabilities, right? So you need infantry and you need critical mass of that. So I spent a lot of time helping to build critical mass of cloud fluency at scale. And that's really the only way you can create this sustainable transition to the new operating model. And many enterprises and certainly the agencies are still struggling with how to build those, that literacy and build that culture of cloud computing.
At the risk of setting myself up for an "it depends" answer, where are agencies in that journey right now? Are they doing well? Are they doing not so well? And whichever reason, what are the factors behind how they're doing?
It's interesting, and it probably mirrors a little bit of what we're seeing in the private sector as well, that you have the have and the have-nots. Right. So I think you have even some departments within agencies, and certainly some agencies that have embraced it, that have leaders that are willing to take some risk and invest in not only their talent, but invest in solutions to be able to deliver on their mission. Right. And you're seeing, once you start creating that flywheel, that momentum, you really start to accelerate and pull away. And that gap is getting wider and wider from those agencies that are really truly embracing it. And some of them are speaking at AWS reInvent, they're on stage. But I think that that's a relatively small minority of unicorns that are out there. I would probably say, I think it's 85% of all IT spend is still on-prem. So I think that's a pretty good indicator of where we are from our maturity. So I would probably say we're still in the tactical stages, maybe emerging in some ways to be a little bit more strategic, but certainly not at that transformational stage yet.
What will help organizations break out? Is it Congress giving them money to do these things? Is it somebody in leadership within the agency saying we have to break the traditions that we have established, or some other factor, do you think?
There certainly is a lot of focus in Washington these days on operational efficiency, right? And I think that's a pretty obvious emerging use case for how to apply AI, specifically agent autonomous AI, to be able to start streamlining a lot of these very intensive, resource heavy workflows, right? So there's a use case for that right now. AWS is investing really heavily in these solutions, right, to enable that. We're investing heavily in providing the skills to people to use them. There's still a pretty significant gap between intent and execution. One of the biggest gaps is the procurement process, right? So it's like, yeah, you can go ahead and provide agencies these funds, but in my experience, innovation tends to die in the hands of legal and procurement, right? And people need to be spending, more time innovating, less time procurement. I think it's roughly 300 days that federal agencies are spending simply on procuring software. I mean, that's a pretty big waste of time. So, things like the AWS marketplace with frictionless procurement, you can subscribe, and purchase, deploy in a matter of days. Those are the types of things that agencies should be exploring to be able to get innovative solutions and skills development like Pluralsight in the hands of their workforce. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much funds you have if you can't unlock them and start accessing new tools and services.